So this guy wants a reality TV show so bad, he fools the entire country into believing he lost his son in some kind of like flying saucer. Let me explain. So the guy's name is Richard. He's an inventor, he's eccentric. I guess he believes that all humans are descended from extraterrestrials. He's a weird guy, and he seems to really want a reality TV show. Now, he had been on a few episodes of reality TV before, and he apparently loved it.
She wants her husband to be more like me, I'll betcha.
Because ever since then, this woman, his wife, Mayumi, they've been pitching their own reality TV show idea to networks. But unfortunately, they keep getting rejected. So then allegedly, Richard and Mayumi come up with this crazy plan. Richard, the inventor, he's gonna build some kind of battery-powered helium balloon vehicle out of plywood and a bunch of plastic tarps. And he makes it look like a flying saucer for some reason. But he's gonna build it and he's gonna release it up in the air. But he's gonna tell everyone it was accidentally released. And that his 6-year-old son Falcon had climbed into it beforehand. And now his son is up there just floating in the atmosphere. And somehow, I guess this is supposed to parlay itself into them getting their own reality TV show. Like, what could possibly go wrong? Anyway, so Richard gets to work building this flying saucer balloon. And then a few weeks later, it's ready. They set up the balloon in the backyard. They fill it with helium. And then they set up cameras to record themselves. And then as the camera's rolling, the balloon becomes untethered and it flies away into the sky. And then once it's in the air, Richard immediately calls the FAA for help. Then the FAA calls the local news station and asks them to dispatch a helicopter to follow the balloon and see where it goes. Then Richard and Mayumi call 911 to report that Falcon is missing and floating away in this like homemade flying saucer. And of course, the police get involved and news stations get involved, and they chase this balloon across the whole ass state of Colorado. And the story gets picked up by local news, but then national news starts covering it. Because a kid getting stuck in a homemade spaceship is kind of a crazy headline. And then pretty quickly, news channels from all over the world are covering Falcon. So anyway, they've been chasing this balloon for around 2 hours, over 50 miles at this point. And everyone is worried, like, oh my God, is Falcon gonna be okay? And it's not long after that finally the balloon, it runs out of steam. And it starts to float down until it crashes into the earth. And then police and first responders, they run over to the crashed balloon and they start cutting it open. And when they look inside, of course, there's no kid. Falcon's not there. And everyone is shocked. They're like, oh, he probably fell out in midair. But that very same day, Richard and Mayumi, they come forward. And they say, oh, we were mistaken. It turns out Falcon was never in the balloon. And they say that he had actually been hiding in a cardboard box in the attic above the garage the whole time. And that he had hid there because he thought his parents were mad at him. And everyone hears this and they're like, what? While the police, they are immediately skeptical. But it doesn't matter, because whatever happened had worked. I mean, at this point, Richard and his family are getting tons of media attention. People are talking about them. They're all over the news. They've got like follow-up interviews scheduled that same day. And that is where things start to go wrong. In one of the interviews, the interviewer asks why Falcon didn't come out from the attic when his parents were calling his name. And Falcon, I guess he answers honestly.
You guys said that we did this for the show.
And that is the moment when everyone watching is like, what the f***? Is this all a hoax? And then the next day, the family's doing a different interview for the Today Show. And they ask them to explain Falcon's comment from the day before. And during the interview, Falcon just vomits.
I vomited 3 times.
Maybe he was nervous. I don't know. But everyone watching was like, okay, did this kid just admit on TV that his parents told him to hide for a TV show? Like, what the hell is going on? So 3 days later, police come out and they announce what pretty much everyone was thinking at this point.
It has been determined that this is a hoax, that it was a publicity stunt.
And they said that they had investigated the crashed balloon, and basically they determined that Richard wasn't truthful about how much the balloon weighed. And that at its actual weight, there's no way the balloon could have gotten airborne with Falcon in it, because he would have been too heavy. So then police bring Richard and Mayumi in for questioning, and they deny any wrongdoing. But I guess police threatened to have Mayumi deported, because she's from Japan. And that is when Mayumi confesses everything, saying that they made up the whole story, I guess to make the family more marketable for a reality TV show. She then later takes back her confession, saying her confession to police was a lie, while Richard, on the other hand, maintains that none of it was a hoax, and that he didn't do anything wrong. But anyway, here's his mugshot, and he ends up pleading guilty to a felony, and he gets 90 days in jail, and here he is apologizing in court.
I'm very, very sorry.
While Mayumi is sentenced to 20 days of weekend jail. Now, to be fair, I presented this story as if they're all guilty, because that's what they pled in a court of law. But to this day, Richard still claims that it was not a hoax, that he thought his son was actually in that balloon. And this whole thing is actually the fault of the evil media who is out to get him. So, I don't know. What do you think?